Welcome in to Moving the Chains, brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union. I'm Kevin Thomas alongside John Epps. Jerel Hendricks back on the board as always for our Week 5 preview show. John, hard to believe we're always already, I guess, halfway through the regular season, man. It's been a fun season so far, but we have another great slate of action, a lot of region. I think everybody's in region play now, I think, John. But this week right here, man, looks loaded so far.
Yeah, it really does. A lot of teams are off this week, but the teams that are playing some big time games, we had some shakeups last week, had some blowouts that I didn't expect. My pick'em results certainly reflect that, but hey, some people are all over it. We had some good scores from pick'em this week too.
Yeah, week 4 was awesome. Good games across, like you said, some upsets, some surprises, some blowouts, a lot of great action across the Palmetto State last week. I'm looking forward to the same thing this week as well. As always, guys, be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter /X, Instagram, YouTube, and more at Movin Chains. That's MOVINCHAINS. Our website, movinchains.com. Our podcast on Apple, Spotify, Google, and wherever you listen to your podcast. We've got our weekly preview show. Goes live Tuesday nights at 7:15 p.m. on Facebook and YouTube. Love to have you guys join us for that. It's a lot of fun to break down the games and talk through it with you guys, the fans. So hopefully y'all continue to do that. Appreciate you joining us tonight. As always, throughout the week, we'll have coach interviews, player interviews, teams of the week, pick them, all kinds of great stuff you have to tune into. So make sure you check us out, not just on Fridays, not just on Tuesdays, but every night of the week. As always, get your Moving the Chains merch. We've got some great stuff right now, some great toboggans, a black one, a gray one. Order yours today. You can email us info@movingchains.com or send us a message, a DM on social media. That'd be a great way to get in front of us too. We have stickers right now, great stickers for your tumbler, for your laptop, your car, whatever you're going to do. Get you one of those right now as well. Some great hats, Richardson hats. We've got gray fronts here. We've got a black front one as well. Lots of great options there. T-shirts for you guys. Black T-shirt, gray T-shirt, navy blue, and pink. Order one today. It's a great Christmas present, John. I know it's early in the year, but you can get your special someone a Moving the Chains shirt or toboggan or hat or even a hoodie that we have here too. Kind of a wider color along with the gray too. So support the boys. Help us make this thing bigger and better. And you guys supporting some merch, repping some merch will certainly help us do that. Jerel, any comments from the fans before we get rolling here with our CONA games of the week? I'm going to assume there are none, Jerel. John, I guess any comments from you before you're on our CONA games of the week?
No, I'm excited. Let's get into it. We got some good games to talk about here, and a lot of good games that are not games of the week. There'll be good games to talk about as well.
For sure. We could have gone 7, 8, 9 deep this week, it feels like, but here are our CONA games of the week, 5 of the biggest games across the state of South Carolina. Let's start with this one, John. One that going into the season probably would not have said would be a big game, but here we are, week 5, and it certainly is. That's the Clover Blue Eagles, 3-2, 0-1 in region, traveling to take on the Fort Mill Yellow Jackets, 4-1, 0-1 in region play. Both teams coming off of tough losses. Clover lost a double overtime game to Rock Hill, 35-34 last week. Fort Mill, a tough 14-10 low-scoring game, lost to Catawba Ridge there. Last year, John, Clover defeated Fort Mill 33-3 in this matchup, but I think Fort Mill is much improved. What do you see happening in this year's matchup between these two squads?
I like this Fort Mill defense. I don't think they're going to let Clover score that many points on them Friday night. I really like this Fort Mill group. I would like to see them play at some point this year, because they have really made a big-time turnaround from how they were last year and how they've been the last few years. Really haven't thought about Fort Mill being a good football program until this year. They've really played some good football. They played a really talented Catawba Ridge team last week. Were very competitive in that game, gave themselves chances to win the game, first loss of the season. And, they haven't given up more than 14 in a game yet this year. That defense has been really good for them. And, hey, if you can play good defense, you can be in any game you play. So I like Fort Mill in this game. I just think they're at a higher level right now than Clover. Clover lost to a good Rock Hill team last week in their own right, had a chance to win that game, of course, when you go to double overtime. This is a cool little region. You got Northwestern in this region. They certainly seem to be the class of the region, but, you talk about Catawba Ridge, Fort Mill, and Rock Hill. I mean, 2 through 4, there's a lot to be said right there. And then, you got Indiana and Nation Ford in the region as well. This is going to be a really fun region to watch play out, but I like Fort Mill a little bit. I like that defense for the Yellow Jackets.
You mentioned it, the Yellow Jackets of Fort Mill only allowing 9 points per game on defense right now. You mentioned the 14s are must have given up. They're scoring 33 on offense. Last week, quarterback Quinn Kelly had a touchdown pass. Running back Broden Mitchinson, he's kind of the guy that makes the engine run there for their Coach McNeely's group. Receivers, McKenzie had a touchdown. Terrell and Crocker are all weapons. Defensively, Joseph Dewey, 12 tackles, 2 TFLs. Southward had 10 tackles. Patterson, 9 tackles. McGill, 8 tackles. They totaled 6 sacks against Catawba Ridge. So they know how to get after the quarterback. That is a big piece of their defensive plan. Clover, on the other hand, led by quarterback Aaron Sheely. Running back Grady Stone, 4 touchdowns last week. He is kind of the engine for that group there for Coach Woolbright. Jaytwan Kroom also had a touchdown run. Coach Woolbright, we mentioned, does a great job over there as always. And you mentioned these two teams. They lost last week, John. Both certainly could have won this game. Clover, I believe, had a big lead. Did not score the second half, I think it was. Let Rock Hill come back, score 14 in the fourth to take the lead there, to tie it up, and then win in overtime. And then Catawba Ridge, they had a 10-0 lead. Fort Mill had a 10-0 lead on Catawba Ridge in their game. So they had a chance to win that one as well. I'm with you. I expect a lower scoring game. I think both teams, really want to run the football with Mitchison and Stone. I'm thinking low points here. But for me, I feel like, and maybe just a victim of the past here, but I need to see Fort Mill beat somebody good before I maybe take them in a game like this. And, I love what the Blue Eagles do there. That was a tough one last year. They played some tough teams out of state, too. Some tough, I know they played Palisades. A couple other guys beat Hillcrest already. They've had a tough non-region schedule there for Clover. So I think they're maybe a little more battle-tested right now. And I think I just know I feel more confident with what I've got with them, with Landon Stone at running back, than what I know about Fort Mill so far. So I'm going to go Clover in a close one. Low-scoring game, though, but I like the Blue Eagles here. Any thoughts from you, John, before we bring Jerel in here to get his comments on it?
No, I like it. I think that's fair.
Jerel, thoughts from you or the chat on this Clover-Fort Mill matchup?
Yeah, sorry about that, guys. My phone likes to connect to my headphones and block stuff out at the worst time. So we'll get those comments up from everybody after I get done blabbing here. But I'm going to side with John here. I like when we have a split decision here that makes us look a little bit better so we don't have to make those terrible graphics and poke fun of ourselves. I like Fort Mill in this one. Just the indicators. That defense has just been so stout this year, and they're playing at home. And I think they have something to prove here. These are fun games because, going into region play, and then also it's like both teams coming off a loss, so they feel like they've got something to prove here. So, again, I think it's going to be a low-scoring game, but I like Fort Mill a little bit more in this one. Playing at home, playing spirited defense, and I think they're going to be able to key in and kind of stop that Clover run game.
Another key factor for Fort Mill here, kicker Noah Hardy made a 54-yarder last week in their game against Catawba Ridge. So that is quite a weapon to have at the high school level. You don't see many 40-yarders. It's much less a 54 there. So hats off to Noah Hardy. He could be a super, super important weapon in a close ball game there between the Blue Eagles and the Yellow Jackets. Armani says, heartbreaking double overtime loss by the Blue Eagles. Got to give the Bearcats coaching staff credit there for real. Yeah, Rock Hill, much improved for Coach Bullware. I like what they're doing there, but yeah, tough loss for Clover. Interesting to see how they bounce back this week. Armani.
I want to thank Armani. He provides some great updates on Twitter, X for us. So I appreciate that across the state. So follow his account if you want some Clover stuff.
Courtney, hey, my guys. Good seeing you, Courtney. Appreciate you, buddy. We'll talk about BHP here in a little bit. Kevron says, good afternoon. Thank you, Kevron, for joining us as always, my man. Zach says, good evening. Clinton had a gut-wrenching loss to Daniel last week. Let's see. No one besides Clinton and their fans thought they put up 30-minute defense, opened some eyes for sure. They did. Clinton played well in a loss. I think that was a impressive showing by the Red Devils. No doubt about it. Brandon says tough loss for Red Devils as well. Up 10 in the fourth quarter, ended up losing. Yeah, tough one there at the end. Daniel kind of came storming back late, but a good showing from Clinton. Dion says, what's up, guys? Go Strom Thurman versus Georgia Lincoln County. Exactly. Yeah, go Rebels against anybody from Georgia. Let's go Strom Thurman for sure. Nathan says, OCA and Dutch Fork. I mean, that was the talk of the weekend, honestly. Oceanside Collegiate taking down Dutch Fork last week, Nathan. A huge win by the Land Sharks. Jerel, we were talking offline here. This was not, it wasn't an accident. Like Oceanside Collegiate outplayed them. Like they beat them. Like, I mean, it was a great win by Coach LaPrade and that crew.
Yeah, just up front. I mean, they just whipped them. Like, it was not a fluke. Like, they won the football game. And it's not surprising, too, if you followed this program, and especially this season. I mean, they played Irmo within a touchdown. So, these guys are real.
Maybe that's why we keep putting Oceanside at number 1 in 3A. Maybe we know something. I don't know. We'll see.
Awesome. Might have something to do with it.
Malik says Dylan's starting to run into shape, still 80% of their potential, which is scary. Yeah, that's a team. You're exactly right, Malik. It's going to get better and better with the Fongtalia there at quarterback getting better and better. He will figure it out, keep growing up. You got weapons with Robertson and Capehart and Felton there as well. That Dillon group is going to be really tough come region play, come the playoffs. They are certainly going to be a good group there. Terrence says, what's up, guys? Hampton County in the house. Another big one for Hampton County this week against Christ Church. Terrence, we can break that one down here in a little bit as well. Rob says, here we go, Cheraw Braves. One of our games of the week, Rob. We get it out in a little bit. Big matchup over in Pageland. Dion says 14-10 Clover. I like that low scoring.
Let's go to the next game, guys.
Our second CONA game of the week. The undefeated Seneca Bobcats, 5-0, taking on the 3-1 Daniel Lions. Daniel last year, John, won this game 42-21. They're coming off that 41-33 win over Clinton. Seneca, a nice 42-10 victory over Travelers Rest. John, you hate to say this like in the first week of region play, but I kind of think this is the region title right here, is it not?
I don't see how it's not. It seems like it's got to be. Greer's going to get back to what Greer is typically known for, but they're just not there this year. This is, I like to think this is for the region title, as it's been the last couple years. And this game has been, I'm kind of surprised this game is early in the region schedule too. I would think it would be more toward the back half, if not the last game of the year. But yeah, this is a good game. And I tell you what, this is, I think we're going to see a closer game than what we saw last year. I think Seneca, they might be as good or better than they were last year, just from how they've played out the gate. And I think Daniel's down a little bit. I watched a lot of that Clinton game, and they defensively, they just don't look, they're not super aggressive. Clinton did a great job in their own right on offense, but Daniel just looked kind of slow and just not confident, not swarming to the football, not swarming to the ball carrier. And that's something that's kind of new. I saw that South Point Daniel playoff game last year where South Point they ran the ball, but that was because South Point was so good. Daniel just defensively last week, they didn't look great. They didn't look the same as they typically do. Offensively, obviously they got to come together, and they're still a really good team. They're still really talented. I think if Seneca has a chance to win the region and knock them off, this is the year for them to do it. And this is the weekend to do it. I just don't know if I believe in them yet. I have to, kind of like you were talking about with Fort Mill, I kind of have to see it before I can believe it. I think this is the year for them to do it. I just don't know that I trust it. I think if this game is a really tight, close ball game into the fourth quarter, I really like Daniel's chances at winning this game because obviously they've been there before. They know how to win these close games, these big games. I like Daniel's mental fortitude in this game a little bit better, and I think ultimately that's what's going to put the Lions on top. But it should be a good game. I expect this to be a pretty tight ball game.
Seneca averaging 54 on offense, 10 on defense, averaging 525 yards per game, John. They're getting it done through the air and on the ground. Quarterback Gavin Tama last week, 16 for 23, 254 touchdowns. Running back Amari Verner, 16 for 216, 2 touchdowns, 14 on the season now for Verner. Receiver Jeremiah Hunter, 6 for 127 and a touchdown. Colton Hawk, 2 touchdowns, and Jack Webb, a touchdown as well. Defensively, Jermaine Miller, 9 tackles, 2 TFLs. Also contributions from Philpott, Cope, and Chapman. Daniel in that win over Clinton, Jace Gross goes 13 for 25, 146, 2 touchdowns. Running backs, Emmanuel Major and Kingston Bibb with touchdowns. Bibb, a freshman to watch out for. He's a big-time player there for them. Receiver Trey Wembley, 4 catches for 80 yards and 2 touchdowns and a punt return touchdown. Ham Scott's playmaker for them as well. Defensively, Cade Spencer, 18 tackles, 3 TFLs. Dexter Johnson, a monster up front. Caden Frooster, PJ Chancellor, now healthy, locking down the back end of Coach Stone's bunch. It's an odd game here, John, because like you said, I feel like Daniel has not been the crispest so far this season. Like, has not played their best football, giving up some points. Last week, Clinton had a pretty good rushing game against them. Stratford put up points a couple weeks back as well. It doesn't seem like their defense is quite clicking on all cylinders right now. That does scare me a little bit. On the other side, Seneca, you said you need to see it. And I get that, because I feel like we've almost been fooled by this before. Like, we've seen Seneca start off really hot, play really good football early on in the year, and then they play Daniel or a big name program down the stretch, they kind of falter and they're not really that level. So I'm interested to see if they are at that point or not. And so far, the offense has been great. They scored 42 a minimum every game. So I'm thinking they know how to put up points. We'll see just how good this Daniel defense is this week. I know kind of the thing always is Daniel at home, like they don't lose, but they already have once this year to Stratford. So that kind of broke that home winning streak there in the regular season. But I agree with you. I think Daniel, they are the proven program right now to me. The Lions, I love Grass at quarterback. Love Wembley. Maybe it's a Wembley big special teams play that gets them, the win. I don't know. But I think Coach Stone kind of gets his first signature win, kind of first big region win here as the head coach of the Lions. I like Daniel to win this game. But like you said, I think it's going to be a close one here. I think Seneca has improved. I like Werner a lot. I think that bunch is a good team. I think Daniel at home is a little bit too much here. Jerel, thoughts from you or the chat on this Seneca-Daniel matchup?
I got to do it now. I'm going the Bobcats here.
I like it.
Got to.
Bold.
I think this is the year. I think they're going to do it. I think this is the year to catch them. They've played so well early in the season. And again, I don't know if Daniel's at the level that we're used to seeing them, and that's no slight. Like we're all Clemson fans here. Clemson, you just have that in football. Some years you just don't have it. So and this is still a really, really good Daniel football team. But I think Seneca, this is the year they get it. I think it's been since 2017 that they've won, and the last few haven't really been close. But I think they're going to get it done and go into Singleton Field and get the victory here. So it should be a lot of fun.
Here's what kind of worries me. Seneca's schedule so far: Powdersville, Woodmont, West Oak, Walhalla, Travelers Rest.
Yeah.
Daniel's a different animal. They all are. Like, not saying it can't be done, but we'll see. We'll see. That Powdersville game back in week 0, that's a nice win for them. But Powdersville is a 3-18 compared to 4A, so I don't know. Tough to judge too much off of that. It feels like too.
For sure. They don't have the toughest schedule, but again, I like the ground attack. I don't think like John was mentioning, a little bit weaker on defense for Daniel. It's a recipe for them to win it, and I think they're going to knock them off. I
love it. Let's look at the comments. Zach says, not all teams in region play yet. Clinton playing their 6th non-con game against Union County. That's right. Yeah, Clinton is one of the smaller ones. You're right, Zach. Great call there. Justin, what's up, guys? Good seeing you. Just appreciate you joining us as always, buddy. Bobcats by 16. Wow.
Whoa.
That'll put the state on notice there if that happens. Courtney's got Seneca big as well, 35-14. Brandon's got Seneca. A lot of Bobcats fans in the program tonight, man. This is pretty cool to see. I love that. Zach says Seneca doesn't stop Trey Wembley. Be alone for a long night. Yeah, he's a stud. He's a great athlete and just a young guy too.
He's got a lot of speed.
Yes, he does. Daniel starts 10 to 12 sophomores and a freshman. Yeah, they've got some young pieces there for sure. They're going to be a team that's going to be reckoned with for a few years, as they always have been, of course, lately it feels like. Bradley says, good evening. Good seeing you, Bradley. Appreciate your boy joining us as always.
Yeah, guys, let's go to the next one.
Our third CONA game of the week, a big Region 2 5A matchup, John. That's the Dorman Cavaliers at 3-1, 1-0 in the region, taking on the Byrnes Rebels, also 3-1, 1-0 in the region over at Nixon Field. Last year, John, this was a game the week of Hurricane Helene that got played on the Wednesday before. They moved it up. Byrnes won 14-3 in that one. Dorman last week, a big win over Riverside, 31-3, averaging 34 points per game on offense, allowing just 13 on defense. Running backs, Nick Means and Isaac Tate kind of make that machine go there for Coach Morris. Quarterback Meek Slidell had 2 touchdowns last week. First touchdown passes of the season for Dorman there, John, in their fourth game. That worries me a little bit there, but he got 2 of them, so love to see that. Receiver Deshaun Watkins-Himes and Tragan Mickler, also a weapon there. Watkins-Himes and Camden Miller had touchdowns last week for them. Defensively, everybody knows Contavious Anderson, the Clemson commit, the Super 75 guy. He's a stud there on the back end for them. Jabez Thomas, also a good player for the Cavs. Byrnes, a big 45-3 win over Wade Hampton, averaging 39 points per offense, 14 allowed on defense. Quarterback Kane Rogers, 13 for 18, 181, 2 touchdowns last week. Running backs Trey Segura had 2 touchdowns. Jacoby Fuller also a weapon for them. Receiver Chu Harris is a speedster out wide. Watch out for him. Defensively, Justice Hopkins, Jonathan Montgomery, they are really good up front. I love their front 7 on defense. The Rebels are tough. John, are you expecting a low-scoring game kind of like last year? You see some more points. What do you like here, Rebels and Cavs, here in Week 5?
I'm feeling like we're going to see more points. I think it's certainly more higher scoring than last year. And, a Wednesday game, that's out of the norm for anybody, right? So you're going to see some weird stuff. But yeah, I think we're going to see some points. And I think we're going to see some points because of the talent that's on the field, especially on the Rebels sideline. And I like the Rebels in this game for that reason. I mean, you just reeled off half a dozen names of these Byrnes Rebels that we've heard for a couple years now. Yeah. And you couple that with, okay, they can run the ball, they can throw the ball, and they have a good offensive line. I mean, that's a really, really good recipe to have. I like Byrnes at home in this game here at Nixon Field. I think, last year was such a weird year for them, not getting to play home game. They were kind of hot, kind of cold. The offense didn't really come together. This year, everything seems to be comfortable again. Yeah. They seem to have their chemistry back, and everything is how it's supposed to be for this program. I like Byrnes. I like Byrnes to win this game. And I tell you what, this could be, we look at Gaffney. Gaffney's a little bit down right now. I don't know if I could say down, but they're not what they had been the last few years. You got the new coach first year there as well. This game right here could go a long way in deciding the region champ. I think Spartanburg and Gaffney are going to have something to say about that through the rest of the year. But the winner of this game is going to have a real leg up through the rest of the region play. This is a really important game for both teams. And I think both teams have enough talent to have a special season. But I like Byrnes at home. I like the Rebels. I think they got a little too much talent on offense for Dorman tonight. Or Friday night.
Both teams want to run the football. Obviously means that Dorman is their guy there. He's a stud. And then Segura at Byrnes, also a stud for them. I think, Dorman, I'm a little bit worried about the passing game for them. They kind of got to get that going. First touchdown passes in Week 4 is a little bit kind of an odd stat there. Hopefully get it going. Slidell, he's played well for them. I guess hadn't had to throw it a ton yet so far. And, I wrote down, I've got all my notes here, John, and I wrote an extra note when I got done. I was like, I want to make sure I mention this, and all I put was fast next to Byrnes because they are fast. The whole team is fast. They got so much speed there. I'm going to lean Byrnes. I think it comes down to maybe which quarterback can make more plays. And right now I trust Rogers more than Slidell. I think both defenses are good. Both defenses are pretty good at stopping the run, it feels like. So I think it's, can you get more plays from Slidell or Rogers? I'm going to go Rogers right now. I'm leaning Byrnes at home to win this football game, but should be a fun one over there at the new Nixon Field. Jerel, comments from you or the chat on the Cavaliers and the Rebels?
Yeah, this one's tough because we got a clean sweep here. Go with the Rebs as well, playing at home. The Dorman, just being one-dimensional on offense so far, really scary for me. So that's the reason why I'm going with the Rebels here. I think they can get it done in the passing game as well as, the running game. Talk about stars all over the field, though. There's going to be no shortage of talent playing in this game. Obviously, a pivotal region matchup here in one of the best regions of the state. So it should be a lot of fun to watch this one in particular. But I like Byrnes here. I don't know how high scoring. And my one concern is special teams when it comes to Byrnes. And it's a weird, it's a weird thing because I think that we saw them get it done in the return game, and that's very dangerous with all the athletes that they have. But they did not have a good night kicking when we saw them play Irmo. So hopefully they got that figured out so far. Maybe let Trey Segura kick the ball. I think he's a soccer player by nature as well. So
There we go. There we go.
Let him do it all. A little bit from the last game, though. Check this
Daniel
comment
says 35-0 from Dion. I don't know if I'll see that, Dion, either, but certainly interesting to see what we get on Friday from that one. Justin says Big Byrnes. Zach says don't take no one else but Byrnes to play at Nixon. High school game atmosphere. Yeah, the new Nixon field, too, is awesome, and they've had a great turnout so far this year. I'm sure it'll be even better this Friday for a region game. Will be a lot of fun there. Brandon likes Byrnes in this one. Dion says 38-28 Byrnes.
I can see that.
Bradley's one of the top games this week. Byrnes is sneaky. They'll top Dorman by at least 7-14 per Bradley. G. Bryant says Dorman D-line is good. It is. They are. And I mean, I was in the back end, too, with Anderson. They've got studs on that side of the football. That's why I think it comes down to which quarterback can play a little bit better. I think both teams are going to struggle to score for a little bit for sure in this football game. Courtney's taking Byrnes 35-28. Byrnes 42-28, says Justin. Pirelli says, can't believe Gaffney Spartanburg, the Friday night rival game, not on Pick'em. I believe it is in the Pick'em, is it not? Did I make the Pick'em this week? I don't know. We had too many.
I haven't made my picks yet.
I'll take a look. I'll let you know. But let's go to the next game, guys.
Yes, our fourth CONA game of the week, a huge 2A matchup. John, talking about region title on the line. I think this is it right here for this region as well. And that's Cheraw, the Braves at 3-2, traveling to take on the 4-0 Central Pageland squad led by Coach Jonathan Eason. Cheraw last year victorious 30-13 in this football game. Last week, Central, a big win, 40-6 over Blacksburg, averaging 36 per game on offense, 10 allowed per game on defense. Quarterback Dwayne Lou Allen, 12 for 15, a $180, a touchdown pass, and a touchdown run last week. Running back Aiden Short, 14 for 90, a touchdown. Jakari Holloman had 2 touchdown runs. Receiver Tavion Moore, 5 for 85. Defensively, Holloman, 8 tackles, 3 TFLs. Aiden Welch, Marcus Allen, also playmakers for that Eagles group there. Cheraw, tough loss to River Bluff, 67-19 to the bigger 5A squad. Quarterback Caden Thomas is kind of the gunslinger there for that group. Running back DB Nick Gordon, 4 catches, 58 yards, had a pick six, an 87-yard punt return, 180 all-purpose yards. Justin Joint, running back, should be back for the Braves. He's been out. That's to be a big get for Coach Poole there if he is back on the field. Defensively, Crawford, Poole, Anthony Strong just wreck things up front. They have as good of a D-line as you will see, especially at the 2A level. This Braves team is for real. John, this game, I mean, I mentioned already, it feels like the region title, man, and I think these are the 2 best teams not only in that region but in that part of the state. Could be, all of lower state, 2 best teams in 2A.
Yeah, they certainly could. And I'm really excited about this game because I feel like I don't know a ton about Central Pageland yet. They have run through their schedule, but they've played. Their toughest game is that first game of the year against Louisville. They won 12-0.
With Louisville, like I believe, either in that ball game.
Okay. Cheraw, on the other hand, they've really played a varied schedule. They've played some smaller schools, they played some good schools, they played some bigger 5A schools, but Conway and Darlington, they're not great, but they're still 5A. They're still tough, and they won both of those games. Lost a close one to a good Marlboro County team. I think I like the way that Cheraw has structured this non-region schedule because they've gotten a little bit of everything.
Yeah,
and they know what it's like to lose. They know what it's like now to lose bad, and they know what it's like to win a close game. I think, and they've got a blowout under their belt as well. So they've got to experience a little bit of everything, and I think that's going to go a long way because that is, to me, that allows that coaching staff to really have some good teaching moments with this team on what they can improve on, what they parts of the game that maybe need more attention than others. And they've got to experience every high and every low already.
Yeah.
I think that experience for them is really going to go far for the rest of the season. And I think they might just be a little bit better of a team. Again, I don't know enough about Central Pageland yet. We're going to find out a ton on Friday night because this is going to be a heck of a ball game. I'm really excited about this one, but I like the Braves. I think the Braves I like them because they're a little more tested.
Yeah, and I agree. That's exactly what I had written down. I was like, we know Cheraw We know they're a good team. We know they're a tough team because they played a tough non-region schedule. We've learned a lot about them. Now, with that, you get a little bit banged up because you play some bigger boy stuff guys, so they're not at full strength. I wouldn't say right now the Braves are, which is a bit of that's kind of the catch-22 part of playing the bigger schedule there. But we think they're a pretty good team. And then Central, we don't know how good they are, and I think you're exactly right. I mean, and I wonder if the coaches feel that too. Like I feel like if you're Coach Poole for the Cheraw, you know like what you got. But if you're Coach Easton at Central, like do you think you're pretty good? Are you still worried? I don't know. And I wonder what they're thinking on that sideline because that's kind of the question that I have here. Certainly will be intriguing. One thing I like about Cheraw, the return game, Nick Gordon, I think he's had multiple punt return touchdowns already this season for the Braves. I like that as an X factor there for them. Central, I mean, it's going to be this is a good rivalry here too. This will be a fun matchup. Should be a good crowd, I'm hoping, over there on Friday, man. I don't know who I like in this one because I'm just a little bit worried. If both teams were full strength, I think I would take Cheraw. But I just don't know how healthy they are right now. Joint coming back, we think, from an injury at running back. Hadn't played the last couple of weeks. Is he going to be 80%, 90%? I don't know. And that's a bit of a worry for me. But, Jerel, who do you like in this one? Because I haven't made my pick yet. But, what are you thinking in this game here between Cheraw and Central?
Put me on the spot. I don't know either. I think these are just two evenly matched teams, and then you throw in the injury news. It's difficult as well because I think these teams are really good. I know Zach was talking about the comments as far as like this region. I think this is one of the split regions, so
yes.
They have teams go upper and lower here. So essentially, I mean, you could see these if everything played out, they could play again,
hypothetically,
something like that. So no, I think these are just two really good football teams. I'm gonna go with Cheraw. My gut tells me the Braves are just overall better, but I've heard so many good things about this Central squad, even in the offseason. So just how talented they are. So I'm going to go Cheraw. Don't feel good about it. Might change my mind on the pick 'em later in the week. Who knows? But that's where I'm leaning right now.
Yeah, I mean, two of the more athletic teams and big teams that you'll see at the 2A level. They don't have the depth of the 3, the 4, and the 5, but they have – their frontline guys are legit. They could play any level. Like, they are that good, and they are really good. I mean, Anthony Strong for Cheraw had a awesome pick six from the DN spot and like a little swing pass last week. Tipped it to himself and grabbed it and took it off like 60 yards. Like, just awesome play there that you see at the higher levels, which is really cool to see from Anthony there. I mean, this is going to be a fantastic ball game. I hate to do it because now we got all three of us on the same train. I'm going to go Cheraw too. I think special teams play, big play from Nick Gordon, something like that. I think the Braves win this game, but this should be a fantastic matchup in 2A, man. We've had Cheraw very high in our poll all year long. See if they can prove it this week. Brandon says region champion upstate. Yeah, I believe 1 and 4 will go upper state, 2 and 3 will go lower state, if I'm correct on this year, I think. Travis, thank you, buddy. Appreciate you joining us as always. Rob says Pageant looks good, but Cheraw's tougher schedule is in the egg. Cheraw 19-16. Kind of feel the same way. Just I feel like they're more of a known commodity right now with Cheraw. You kind of know what you got with that group. Brandon says tough one. He'll take Cheraw 38-24. Like for the Region 4 2A championship. Yes, that is a great point to get the home field there if you win that region. Zach says Central wins. They're playing for their fallen teammate. Yes, that was a tough story this offseason for sure with the loss of that young man. It certainly brought that group together.
And Courtney's got, I think he's got Cheraw winning 28-20 here. But yeah, let's go to the next game, guys.
Our fifth CONA game of the week, our SCISA game of the week here, John. Florence Christian, the Eagles at 4-1, taking on the 4-1 Wilson Hall Barons. A thrilling game last year. Wilson Hall won 15-14 in overtime when these guys matched up in 2024. Florence Christian coming off a tough loss to Williamsburg, 34-21. Riley Minton at quarterback had a rush touchdown for them. Brooks Poston a rush and a pass touchdown out of the running back spot there. Josh Davis, a weapon, along with Barry, Neely, and Fegan. Defensively, Hayden Swab, 8 tackles at TFL, and Barry had 5 tackles as well for Coach Minton's bunch there. Wilson Hall, a big win over Camden Military, 42-14, averaging 36 points per game on offense, just 14 allowed on defense. Ford Wilder has moved kind of from a receiver spot to a QB spot for them. 5 for 5, 64 yards and a touchdown last week, and a touchdown on the ground as well. Multiple backs. Millen Galloway had a touchdown. Ben McLaurin, Cameron Wilsey had 2 touchdowns for them. Defensively, McLaurin, Dinkins, Wilson, Jones, and Gilly are big players. And then Matthew Beamer, 3 picks last week for the Barons and head coach Adam Jarecki. I mean, my thoughts on this one, John, is I think we're going to see a close game similar to last year, but I think Wilson Hall probably has too much depth for the Eagles. I don't know if FCS has quite the amount of talent there that Wilson Hall has, at least on the second and third levels that you'll get from the Barons.
Yeah, I think Florence Christian's really good. I like Wilson Hall a little bit more. I just trust them a little bit more. But I think this is a pretty evenly matched up game.
Should be good.
This will be pretty exciting. And I think no matter which way it's going to go, I think we're going to see a really close game.
Yeah, because I love the rushing attack. Galloway is a guy who's played a lot of football along with Wilder and McLaurin. I mean, 3 kids there that have been through the trenches there for the Barons, man. Have played for state titles and have gotten it done at a high level, and I think they will do it again this week in SCISA. Jerel, what do you like in this matchup? Who do you think here wins this 3A battle?
I like that Wilson Hall rushing attack. That's what sounds good to me. And I love, flexing your best athlete to quarterback. Like, that's quintessential high school football on any single level. I mean, we're seeing it with South Point right now. Their best athletes playing quarterback, and they look unbeatable. So I like Wilson Hall, like that ground attack. I really think they're going to be able to get it done. Do like this Florence Christian squad as well, but give me Wilson Hall in this one.
I mean, you mentioned Ford Wilder. Last year we see him state title game making one-on-one jump balls, great plays against a good Powell prep team. Also a big-time hooper, great player there for that Barons basketball squad too. Check him out. He's a legit D1 player there on the hardwood too. So Ford Wilder, a stud there for Wilson Hall. I like Coach Jarecki. I like Coach Minton. Should be a fun matchup. I think we're all going Wilson Hall here in the SCISA game of the week. Any comments from the chat, Jerel, before we wrap up our CONA games of the week? Chris says, what's up, Chris? Appreciate you joining us here, buddy. Big game for the Indians here. We'll break down in a little bit. G. Bryant says Central 24-14. A little bit low-scoring game there, he's predicting.
Got nothing specifically on this one, so we'll just go thank some friends.
Once again, our CONA games of the week, guys. We got Clover at Fort Mill, Seneca at Daniel, Dorman at Byrnes, Cheraw at Central, and Florence Christian at Wilson Hall. If you missed any of those, go check it out when the show is over. They'll be at the front, of course, on Facebook and YouTube. You can check them out. Listen to our breakdowns of all 5 of those matchups. But, Jerel, shout out to friends of the program. They'll move on to the rest of the statewide slate.
Everyday life means everyday expenses. Spend smarter with a Founders Federal Credit Union credit card, offering you low rates and big rewards where it matters most. Enjoy all the benefits of saving while using your Founders Essential MasterCard. Make every swipe and tap count with smart rates, big rewards on select cards, and no balance transfer or annual fees. Because your money should go where you want it to. That's the power of Founders Federal Credit Union. Apply today at foundersfcu.com. Relax. You're with Founders.
With 3 convenient locations in Spartanburg, Duncan, and Greenville, Carolina Orthopaedic and Neurosurgical Associates, CONA offers the most advanced training and experience in orthopedic surgery, neurosurgery, sports medicine, and pain management in the upstate. Go to kona.care to learn more.
John, let's take a look at the statewide slate starting in 5A.
Yeah, we start in the Low Country. RB Stall will host Waccamaw. Southside Christian hosting Carolina Forest.
An interesting game here. Southside Christian team that we thought was kind of dead in the water was 0-3 going into last week. They have a great showing against a previously unbeaten Saluda squad. DJ Lee, one of the players of the week for us, had a huge matchup there for Coach Guest. He gets his first win here in South Carolina. Southside Christian, I don't know if they'll beat Carolina Forest. It's a pretty good team there for Coach Morris. They had a big win last week as well behind a big game from Jaron Fox and their quarterback. But Southside Christian, I think may have kind of woken up last week. So they're a team to keep an eye on the rest of the year.
Yeah, once they get into region play, they'll be interesting to watch. A little Blythewood rivalry here. You got Westwood hosting Ridgeview.
I like this game a lot. Westwood, John, we saw them back week 0, lose to AC Flora. They've ran all 4 wins in a row now for Coach Burris there in his first season. Running back Angelo Rios, he's a really good receiving running back. He caught a touchdown last week and ran for a touchdown. Jovan Howard had a big game on the ground as well for them. They're playing good football right now as they roll into region play. Ridgeview, a team that we've been high on. They've got a couple losses. The 2-2 record doesn't look great, but they've played some really good teams, really tight, and got a big one for Camden last week. Spencer Bobain has played well at running back spot. They got tons of athletes, Jordan Best, Carter Coleman, etc. Still a little bit banged up. Christian Jackson's still out. Obviously, Trey Howard's out, but Ashton Chapman has stepped in to play great at quarterback for them. They're a team that, for Coach Howard, is not going to beat themselves, that they play fast, they're physical on defense. I think they're a legit contender this year in 5A. Should be a fun game. Westwood probably going to have to play perfect to win this one. I think Ridgeview a little bit more talented right now. But like you said, a fun rivalry game there in 5A. And also, Coach Burris coached under Coach Howard at Ridgeview for a while there, too. So a cool little storyline going into that one.
That's what I wanted to say. We saw them at the state title game together a couple of years ago. So I wonder if they got a little friendly wager this week. That should be a lot of fun to keep track of.
At the Castle, too.
Sticking in the Northeast Columbia area, has Spring Valley hosting Blythewood. Lexington is at home against Lawrence. Somerville hosting Goose Creek. We got JL Man traveling over to Greenville, a little Greenville County rivalry game there.
A great game, too, because both teams, do Spirit Week this week. I think last year between the two, they raised like $1.1 million for community charity stuff around the upstate. So really cool to see what those two student bodies get into, man. It's a raucous atmosphere every year. A lot of times in Greenville, I feel like, just kids in general these days get kind of a bad rap for not going to games and not supporting the football team. But this game here is going to be wild. The Patriots and the Red Raiders are going to show up. Fans will. The kids will. It's going to be a great atmosphere there. JL Man caught their first win last week for Coach Smiley there. Big win over Easley. Greenville has been rolling since they early lost to Dorman. So a fun matchup. One of those we thought the record books for sure in this one here, but going to be great over there at Serene Stadium on Friday.
Yeah, those kids certainly do a good job with Spirit Week this week, and putting some efforts toward good calls as well. So that's really commendable by both sides on them. I'm interested to see how good Greenville is. I think the Red Raiders might be better than we think they are. Hey, Friday night will be another chapter of whether they really are or not.
In this matchup, got two of the better defensive coaches in the state, too, with Coach Watson there at Greenville. We know what he's done. And then Coach Smiley, where he used to, run that Gaffney defense. Two guys that will have good game plans, I'm sure, on that side of football especially. It could be a low-scoring matchup.
And while our CONA games of the week, we got Byrnes hosting Dorman. TL Hanna is at home against Malden. TL Hanna with a nice win over Greenwood last week.
Yeah, comeback victory for them. I saw Malden play. They are improving for Coach Cook. Like, they're not state title contenders this year, but they are getting better and better. They've got some good athletes there, the Mavericks do, but I think TL Hanna probably a little bit too much in that game.
One of our CONA games of the week here as well, Fort Mill hosting Clover. We have Boiling Springs at home against Eastside.
That was intriguing to me. Eastside hung around with a pretty good Spartanburg team last week. That was their first loss. They played good football for Coach Woolcock. Lucas Tankersley has been a stud at the running back spot and on defense for them. Peyton Schrader playing well as well also. I think Eastside goes on the road and wins this football game. Boiling Springs has been kind of up and down this year. I think Eastside's really trending up. I like what they're doing.
Yeah, it should be a pretty good ball game here. We have St. James at home against Berkeley.
Henry Rivers been out for them, played the last game before the bye. I don't know if he's going to play against St. James. Maybe you kind of hold him for region play there for Berkeley. We'll see how that goes. I don't think they're going to need him probably to beat St. James, so maybe you hold him to be safe. But Berkeley, one final tune-up. They get the big matchup with Stratford on deck next week. It's going to be fun to see what happens in that game. But I think Berkeley is the better football team here down at the beach.
They should certainly win this one. Myrtle Beach at home against Cane Bay. Gaffney travels to Spartanburg. Big-time game here. One of these teams is going to go 2-3. Both teams going to be really, really hungry for a win Friday.
Yeah, Gaffney played well last week. Banks Boughton taking over at the quarterback spot there, had a good football game running and throwing there for Coach Littlejohn there. I think it's got to help to kind of have some of this stuff settled. They're going back and forth quarterbacks. What's going on here? Obviously, they just have one guy now, so they know what they're going to do. And I think that's probably helping out the program, helping out the team, kind of getting the continuity there as they move forward. Spartanburg, a team that was really banged up early on in the year, took losses to Northwestern and Dutch Fork. Nothing wrong with that at all, obviously. Two really good teams there. Trey Burke's a stud. Trenton Lynch is a stud. Going to be an interesting matchup here. Gaffney has had some injury, injury problems of their own. Jay McDowell out for the year. But they've got some new guys. Justin Dawkins stepping up the running back spot for them. Defensively, I love what Ratchford does for that team. Scotland Dover up front's a monster for them. Yeah, like Chris says here, 273, two passing touchdowns and a rush touchdown for Banks last week. Huge game for him at the quarterback spot. This is a really intriguing matchup. It is similar to games we've seen earlier on in the show, John, where it's like at some point, if you're Spartanburg, you got to beat somebody big. Like you need to win. And maybe it's this week. I don't know. I love Trenton Lynch. This should be a fantastic matchup over here at Viking Stadium.
Yeah, I'm going to have to really take some time to think about who I want to pick in this game. This is a really tough one for me. Going up to York County, we got Northwestern hosting Catawba Ridge.
Give me 4 quarters of Joshua Dobbs and Cam Vance matchup. That's what I want to see. Let's get those guys one-on-one for a while and see how that shakes out. Also,
That's
Vance, I believe Cameron had another kick return touchdown last week to get his streak going again after it was broken against South. I think that's 3 so far this season already for him. So
Wow.
Electric in the return game as well.
We've got a 4-0 Indian Land team hosting Rock Hill. This is that same region, Indian Land. They're going to mix it up this year as well. This will be a pretty big game. A good barometer to see how good Indian Land actually is.
I was going to say, like, are we just overlooking them almost?
Maybe.
Like, I mean, and, you know, like, we know they got talent. Sequel Patterson, a stud. He's a South Carolina commit, Super 75 guy. He's a monster. I mean, one of the better athletes in the state, you would say there for Coach Hastings. I don't know. I don't know what they got, but I think we'll learn a lot here on Friday.
We have Lugoff Elgin hosting Sumter. Wade Hampton at home against Riverside. White Knoll will travel to Fort Dorchester. Woodmont is at home against Easley. And then closing out the 5A slate, Greenwood hosting Hillcrest.
I like this matchup a lot. You know, last year the Eagles beat the Rams twice, including a 28-21 victory in the playoffs. I talked to Coach Swigert post-game last week. I was like, you know, is it a revenge factor here? What do you guys see this week? He said, I wouldn't say revenge, but when a team chokes you to sleep twice, you might wake up and remember it. So I think the Rams are looking forward to this game. You know, Greenwood coming off a tough loss to TL Hanna last week, probably the worst thing that could happen for Hillcrest. Now Greenwood's going to be upset coming off a tough L there, but we'll see how that goes. Hillcrest, a nice win over Malden last week. One thing I noticed, in that Malden-Hillcrest game, Malden quarterback Reddick Langston was able to break the pocket a couple times, get some 5, 10, 15-yard runs. With Tristan Lewis at Greenwood, if that happens again, those turn into 50, 60, 70-yard runs. You can't have that happen. You got to stay contained on Tristan there. He's a heck of an athlete, one of the better athletes in the state for Greenwood there. The Rams got to keep him in the pocket, can't let him get loose there. On the other side, Hillcrest, they're a big play offense. Got to have those. They have 5 touchdowns, John, of 65-plus yards so far this season, 7 of 55-plus. Going to need a couple of those from Jackson Free, Caden Stevenson, and crew. Trey Booker looked good running the football last week as well. Going to be a fun matchup here over at the BAB. 2 teams that are very familiar with each other. Should be a good game on Friday down in Greenwood.
Yeah, we'll find out how good Hillcrest is.
Jerel, comments from you or the chat on 5A. Hannah by 50 says Chris over Malden. Mark says Ridgeview has something to say about the upstate in the playoffs. Yeah, we keep putting this Ridgeview team pretty high on our poll, and I think that we're all 3 very high on them. We think the Blazers are the real deal.
They tackle as good as anybody I've seen this year.
They are not, legit not going to beat themselves. They are a good football team.
For sure. Let's go to 4A, guys.
Looking down at 4A now, John.
Gray will be hosting North Augusta to kick off the 4A slate.
You know, Gray has been a bit of a tough team for me to figure out. Start off with the tough loss to James Island. They come back, they lose to Dutch Fork, of course, later on, but they beat a good Marlboro County team. Last week, they kind of take Midland Valley behind the woodshed. They played really well there. They made a quarterback change there. A new guy playing for them along with Trayvon Williamson at the running back spot. Coach Bryant's bunch is certainly getting better as we roll into region play here. North Augusta has just answered every call so far this season. You know, Mike Doe at running back is a stud, man. Gets it done for them. The quarterbacks, Hillary has played well for them. Defensive line up front has been really good for Coach Bush's bunch. That's what I love about that team. That DL with, McKinnis and Simeon Jones. They're playing well for them. North Augusta is a good football team. I think we've had them pretty high in 4A in our poll all year long. This is a chance for Gray Collegiate to make a statement to see how good they are. I think the Yellow Jackets a little too much right now for them. Dion says 31-17 North Augusta. That's who he's taking in this matchup.
Yeah, I think it could be at least that. I think very highly North Augusta as well. We've got Wren hosting Woodruff.
That's a good game in the upstate. I need Wren to do something. They've had a couple of odd losses that I didn't think they would have this point in the season to both Powdersville and Hannah. Thought they'd get one of those games. Woodruff continues to roll. It seems like they're going to be a fun game. Could see a lot of points in that one. I feel like with Aiden Gibson, Carson Bryant kind of going at it.
Yeah, for sure. Berea is at home against Pickens. Hartsville, a 1-3 Hartsville team hosting Wilson. Hartsville's going to get it turned around at some point. I don't know if it's this week, though.
This is kind of a show-me game for Wilson, a team that is got some nice wins. You beat a solid West Florence team. You beat a good Dillon team, both in the same week there, really, for Coach Brian Wilson there. Hartsville, the record not great, but we know they're young. They're going to get better and better. this is a game, if you're Wilson and you want to be taken seriously this year, you got to win this football game. And I think they've got a good shot to do it. It should be a great one over there in Kellytown.
Yeah, I think they will win it. Airport is at home against South Aiken. May River will be hosting Georgetown. Midland Valley on the road against Brooklyn Casey.
Mustangs need to bounce back. Tough loss last week to Gray Collegiate. Not really even competitive in that football game. Xavier Jeter and crew got to get going in this one.
Yeah, I was surprised by that. I thought that Midland Valley Gray game was going to be a really good game last week, and it was not. Travelers Rest will be at home against Greer.
I want to hear from Jerel on this one. TR, probably Jerel has not beaten Greer a lot, I'm guessing.
No.
Years.
Negative. They got a shot here.
I was going to say, I thought the Devil Dogs have a shot to win this game.
Yeah.
Calvin McCoy, big game for Greer last week. That was their first win against Berea. TR has played good football. They're 2-2. They've played tight, hung around with Emerald for a while, who's a pretty good team. Interesting to see what Coach Goodman's bunch has here in year 2 for him.
Yeah, for sure. I think they have a good shot. They'd have a better shot if Lucas Tankersley was still there. But yeah, I think TR's got a shot to beat Greer. I mean, it's going to be tough. It's one of those things.
You got him at home though, Chico Bolin.
Yeah. And Will Young, former TR coach as well. So I mean, hopefully he lets it, give us a little bit easier of a matchup here. But I doubt that's going to happen. So maybe the Devil Dogs can pull it out. I'm excited about it.
Down in the Low Country, Hilton Head hosting Bluffton, 2 4-1 squads there.
Man, and Bluffton coming off a kind of surprising loss to Lucy Beckham. And it wasn't really close either. The Bengals handled them pretty well. Hilton Head Island, both teams come in at 4-1. I mean, they're playing good football. Both of them are. I love Bluffton's offense. Hilton Head, I love the defensive lineman, Chris Doyle there for Coach Payne. Two good teams. I think this is a game where I think McCarthy and Warren and Patterson too much for Bluffton. I think they win this game on the road. I like the firepower of that Bluffton Bobcats offense.
Yeah, I really want to see Bluffton bounce back this week. I was not expecting that. It really laid an egg last week. West Side, looking for their first win still. They'll host Abbeville Friday night.
I put this one in the pick'em because I think it's gonna get some separation, some divisiveness here on the show and on the pick'em here.
Give me the Panthers.
Okay, Jerel's gonna come out and say it.
I'll say it.
This is gonna be enticing here. West Side, this is another non-region game still. We have a couple of non-region ones still going, but a team that I feel like is getting better for Coach Lane. They are not yet at their final form, of course, but they play some tough teams. They play Prince Avenue, they play Vestay, they play TL Hanna. Like, they're not playing slouches for sure. Abbeville, we know what they are. So I'm really intrigued to see how this game shakes out. I know there's going to be a great fan battle in this one here. A lot of trash talk going on.
Pick it.
Quads. Me?
Yeah.
I'm going to take who's at home? West Side's at home? Give me West Side. Give me West Side. I don't feel good about it.
Rams.
Oh, okay. I'll be the only one. I'll be the voice.
I'm gonna think about
I
it.
may change it. I may change my pick later on, but
no, I'm excited to see behind the scenes what this one ends up being. Want to give a shout out to Jalen Lane too. Big kick return touchdown for the Commanders there too. That was fantastic.
That's awesome. Down in Lexington will host Lawrence. Lancaster hosting Richland Northeast. Somebody's going to get their first win on Friday. Landrum travels to Blue Ridge. Lakewood is at home against Darlington. Gilbert hosting Aiken.
That's a big region matchup there. Intrigued to see, Aiken started off pretty hot, 2-0, lost the last 2 games here. Gilbert kind of up and down so far this year. We'll see how good Aiken is this week if they can get it done against a good Indians team.
Lower Richland at home against Crestwood.
Red hot Lower Richland too against freezing cold Crestwood. Crestwood 2 losses in a row to Sumter and South Florence. Lower Richland lost early on. I think week 0 to Lugoff Elgin, right, John?
That is correct.
They've won 4 in a row since then. Play some lower level teams. They played at Batesburg, Leesville. Played I guess Colony County is not a lower level team, but they haven't played the toughest competition lately for Coach Taylor. But they are hot, man. 4-1, going into a good Crestwood squad. Really intrigued to see how this one turns out on Friday.
Yeah, I think I like the Diamond Hornets in this game. Crestwood really let me down. I thought that Sumter game was going to be pretty competitive. It wasn't very close. If Lower Richland, we know Lower Richland's pretty big, if they can use their size and push Crestwood around a little bit, I think they'll be able to control that ball game.
Always a great atmosphere over in Hopkins for sure.
Camden at home against Dreer. York will be hosting AC Flora. Bishop England is at home against Woodland.
The
And
Valley Bishops still 4-0, just kind of laying in the weeds. Nobody's really talked about them. They beat a good SCISA squad, a good Porter-Gaud team last week. I mean, Coach Hall's bunch is legit. We'll see them getting a region play here when they play Bluffton and Hilton Head and those guys in a week or so. But I like that team a lot. Just kind of flying under the radar right now. I think we got them in our poll, but a lot of folks don't. So keep an eye on that team.
We got our good eye on them.
Yeah, we do. We might be the only ones. I don't know. Shout out!
And then to close out,
guys right here got our BE football shirt over here.
Yeah,
so
that's a good shirt. And then to close out 4A, our CONA game of the week, we got Daniel hosting Seneca. Could be the year for Seneca. We'll find out Friday.
Jerel, comments from you or the chat on the 4A slate. Jessica says Camden, big bounce back win last week for the Bulldogs. Huge game from Grayson Remp, 7 touchdown passes. I think he tied the school record. Awesome to see that from Grayson there. I think they get another win over Dreer this week. That's a good squad there. DeSandra is also on the Camden Bulldogs squad. They're poised for a big victory on Friday, I feel like. Jerel, I'll let you take this one, Jerel.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Just talking, just blasting me right there. I mean, we're much.
Why does he got to be so mean?
I don't know why Zach's got to be so mean. I don't know. I don't know who hurt him.
Jonathan says, go Red Foxes and go Tigers. Hopefully turn both seasons around. Yeah, the Tigers need it badly. The Red Foxes, I think, will be fine for Coach Calabrese, but both teams could use a shot in the arm for sure. Brandon says, Ren Woodruff should be a good one. He'll take Woodruff 42-31. I think that's a points factory game there.
Yeah, I like that.
JD says, Abbeville deep in Anderson. Let's go Panthers. Two of the better fan bases we have across the state, man. Going to be fun atmosphere over there at Westside High. Brandon also taking Abbeville, says good pick, Jerel.
So you gotta jump off the porch sometimes.
Dion says 28-21 Abbeville.
Ooh.
Travis Smith says Westside 28-24.
I'm excited for this game. We're getting clipped somehow on this one. I know we have a lot of
one way or the other.
Yeah, so we have a lot of people from Westside that watch this show, and it's all love too. So it's a lot of fun. That should be a fun game.
Well, let's look down at 3A now, John. Go through that slate.
Yeah, Battery Creek at home against Whale Branch. Hampton County will travel to Christchurch.
I like this game a lot. A Hampton County team is coming off 2 losses, but they played bigger schools, Bluffton and Hilton Head. I mean, kind of what we expected. I think we on the show, I think we all picked them to lose those games, so I think we kind of saw that coming there. Christchurch has gotten really hot lately. A big win over Riverside, had a big win last week as well. They're playing good football for Coach Hatfield there. I like what that team is doing. Wyndham becoming more and more comfortable with the quarterback spot. We got tons of weapons with Michael Martin and Jude Hall and Ed Atkins. They're a good team. Barnett leads that group up front for them as well. They're a great squad there. Hampton County, this is a really good measuring stick for them. A team that we've kind of had in and out of our poll lately. Hadn't, really know what to make of that group. But this is a good team to match up with the Hurricanes here. It should be a fun one on Friday over there at Carson Stadium.
Yeah, I love this Hampton County group. I think they'll get worked out. I thought they were going to beat Hilton Head, but they'll be fine. And once they get stretched out, once they get off the bus, I think they'll be ready to go. Andrews, they'll be at home against Hanahan. Williston Elko hosting Fox Creek. We've got Crescent at home against Liberty. May River hosting Georgetown. Silver Bluff on the road against the 2-3 Barnwell team. Both teams 2-3 in that game there. Saluda hosting a really good Newberry team.
This is a game there, John, where I was looking at the slate last week, and I was kind of thinking what's going to be our games of the week next week? I kind of took a peek ahead, and I was like, Newberry Saluda might be one of the games of the week. And then Saluda got the doors blown off by Southside Christian on Friday. So that kind of wore a little bit of the shine off of that one. And Newberry, a nice win over a good Fairfield Central team we saw there. They continue to put up points for Coach Sheeter there. I think they win this football game on the road down at Saluda.
I think so. And I think they came back in that Fairfield Central game.
I wasn't following that close. I'm not sure.
I thought they were down early. I could be wrong. Broome will travel to Blacksburg. Union hosting Clinton. Oceanside at home against Atlantic Collegiate. Pendleton will be at home against Carolina High. Belton Honeypath will travel to Chapman.
A Chapman team that took another tough loss last week, 0-5. BHP is playing great football right now. They really are, like Courtney says there, both sides of the football, getting it done offensively, defensively, tons of athletes there for them. I think they win again on Friday. Chapman just cannot quite get over the hump right now. Really tough loss to Christchurch last week.
Yeah, they're just having a tough time. Nothing's really Nothing really going the Panthers' way right now. West Oak will travel to Greenwood Christian. Keenan is at home against Chester. Swansea hosting Columbia. And Wren hosting Woodruff to close out 3A.
Jerel, comments from you or the chat on the 3A slate? How much stake can you put in for the loss Westside took last week? Yeah, you know, Chris, and I feel like Prince Avenue, I'm not super familiar with Georgia High School. I know they're usually really good. I don't know if they still are this year or not. I'm assuming they're pretty good, of course. But Westside, you know, they hung around in that game. They were in that football game there. Like I said, I think they're getting better for sure. So not really a knock against them. I don't think losing to that bunch last week, it doesn't feel like.
I'm just worried about Westside. I feel like they're playing in a lot of these close games, and they're coming out on the losing end on all of them. Yeah. But I think, you know, when you look at that region, though, John, they've still got to be one of the favorites here. I think they'll get some easier matchups here in the next couple of weeks. I mean, they got Emerald, Fountain Inn, Lawrence, Southside, and Wren besides in. I mean, I think they're still going to be top 3 in that region, probably, if not higher than that. Oh, yeah, for sure.
But
I think they've got as good of a chance to win that region as anybody.
For sure. Dion says Newberry by 21. That might not be enough, Dion, honestly. Brandon says John's right. Fairfield Central was up 14-7 early. Okay, thank you, Brandon, for the update on that. Brandon likes Clinton big over Union. Schedule ease up at a brutal non-region. Yeah, and that's why I like what Coach Fountain does. Like, they play a tough non-region schedule for Clinton because they know once you get in region play, not a lot of meat on the bone at that point. So got to find out what you got early on. So I love that for Clinton, and I think they'll be just fine here the next few weeks. Courtney said, "What do y'all think if we see Newberry?" I'm going to think lots of points. First thing in my head is a shootout in that one. I don't know who I think would win yet. We'll see if we get to that point. It'll be tough because Newberry is going to be lower state 3A, BHP upper state. So wouldn't see that until the state title game. Will be a heck of a matchup. I don't know where I lean yet on that one.
If they met for the state championship, that would be wild because that would mean Newberry probably beat Oceanside, and that would be bad news.
For sure. That's all we got in 3A, guys.
Well, Jerel, shout out to friends of the program. We'll come back with the 2A slate.
Schedule your sewer drain clearing with Preferred Home Services today. If we can't clear it, it's free.
Electrical, plumbing, cooling too.
Go, Preferred!
Looking for top-notch sports gear and uniforms? Look no further than First Team Sports. With 30 years of serving the Carolinas, First Team Sports is your local full-service dealer. From youth teams to colleges, we've got you covered with team uniforms, staff apparel, Letterman jackets, sports equipment, and facility branding. Visit our local store in Greenville or firstteamsc.com. Make First Team your first choice.
Founders Federal Credit Union means banking made for you. The on-the-go, the pick-up and go, and the I want to go. Because at Founders, we give you the financial tools that make every dollar work for you. For the little things to the big things. For your future and your peace of mind. We'll always stay grounded in our roots, but reaching beyond what you'd expect is where we'll always go. Find out what our members already know and enjoy a new way to bank. Relax. You're with Founders.
Let's take a look down to the 2A slate now, John.
Yeah, we'll see Kingstree hosting Lake City. Lake Marion at home against Allendale Fairfax. Battery Creek hosting Whale Branch. Hampton County will travel to Christchurch. North Central taking on Buford at home. Mid Carolina will be at home against Batesburg-Leesville.
That's a Batesburg-Leesville team that finally you feel like, kind of woke up last week with a big win. They didn't play the toughest competition, but still a big win for the Panthers. You got Wooden going, you got Witt going. That they smoked a good not really a great Calhoun County team this year. But Mid Carolina surprised me. They knocked off Pelion last week pretty handily, 35-14. So big win for the Rebels there. I think Batesburg-Leesville is the better football team here, but don't sleep on Mid Carolina.
Yeah, and that was a Pelion team that we had been talking about last couple of weeks is really showing some promise. We'll see a team. Here's a team that's showing a lot of promise. Swansea at 5-0. They'll host Columbia Friday night. Strom Thurmond will hop over the county or state line and play an undefeated Lincoln County team in the state of Georgia.
Let's go Rebels. Let's go put on for South Carolina. We need it.
Saluda hosting Newberry. Mullins at home against Marion.
The Tobacco Bowl there between those two, John. Always a good matchup. Marion had won 5 in a row going into last year's matchup in the series, and Mullins finally got a win. I was looking back. I think Marion's lost like 14 games in a row now in total. They are struggling right now. Did not play well last year. Has not played good so far this year. Mullins led by quarterback Canadian Buffet. Great dual threat athlete there for Coach Lowry. I think Mullins wins again. But this is a great rivalry here. Both communities going to show out. It's going to be a great atmosphere over there at Mullins on Friday, but I think the Alks are a little too much in this one.
I agree. And I don't know that we see this Marion team down for too long.
No. I mean, Marion in the PD area tends to always have a lot of athletes. So I'm sure they will come back and cycle back pretty quickly here.
East Clarendon is at home against Manning.
That's intriguing there. East Clarendon is kind of flown under the radar as well, sitting at 4-1. They play good football. Manning's been kind of up and down. Lost an odd game to Scotch Branch early on. We'll see how good they are. I like East Clarendon a lot. Should be a fun game on Friday.
Yeah, I think they should win this game. Blue Ridge at home against Landrum. American Leadership will travel to Thomas Sumter. Crescent is at home against Liberty. We talked about Pelion. They are hosting a 4-1 Eau Claire team. Eau Claire off to a good start. One of our CONA games of the week, Central of Pageland hosting Cheraw. Awesome matchup there. Andrew Jackson on the road against Fairfield Central.
Andrew Jackson, a big win over Louisville last week. Fairfield Central, a tough loss to Newberry, but they hung around on that one. If you want to do transitive property, John, Louisville lost to Fairfield Central, I think, by 7. Andrew Jackson beat him by like 21. I still think Fairfield Central is better, but we'll see on Friday on the field for sure.
Hey, yeah, you got to go out and prove it. It gives the Griffins a lot to pay attention to this week. We'll have Blacksburg hosting Broome, and that will wrap up the 3A slate.
2A slate, you mean?
Or 2A slate, sorry.
Any 2A comments, Jerel, from you or the chat? Mid-Carolina by 7, says Deanna. He's got the upset over the Panthers. He's got Strom Thurman 34-20 as well, says Dion. Coach Rob says Hammond Northwood. Yeah, huge SCISA game, Coach Rob. We'll get to that in a minute here in the SCISA slate.
Yeah, it's quick. It's hard for me to say this. I want to give a shout out to Blue Ridge. I know we mentioned them, in passing right there. Big comeback win against Pickens this week, and I think they're up to 3-1 too. So Tigers are playing good ball right now.
I think their one loss is to Eastside, I believe. A much bigger school there.
So yeah, that's all we have here. Let's go to the next one, guys.
Time for 1A now, John.
Yeah, in 1A, Lake Marion hosts Allendale Fairfax. Hannah Pamplico will travel to Johnsonville, a red-hot Flashes team.
The Flashes made me look smart last week. Big win over Lakeview by a couple scores. I think that team is good, man. They're back. Coach Cribb does a great job there. We know that. He's a proven winner wherever he's been. I think Johnsonville is the real deal in 1A. I think they win again this week.
Yeah, really impressive win last week. Williston Elko at home against Fox Creek.
Fox Creek, another team. I know they're not 1A. They're a bigger school, but they're 4-0, and we haven't really mentioned them either, John. So another team we got to keep an eye on here next couple weeks, see how good they are in the region play.
That's a good idea. Hardyville will travel to Ridgeland. Cross is at home against Branchville. Whitmire hosting Rich Spring Minetta. Lakeview trying to bounce back.
Nope.
They'll travel to Hemingway.
No. Actually, Max Preps, update your Hemingway stuff. Come on.
I'm going to say it every week. Lakeview has a barbecue week.
Yeah.
Dixie at home against Towns County. Baptist Hill hosting First Baptist. Bethune-Bowman will travel to Military Magnet. Carvers Bay, 5-0 Carvers Bay at home against Green Sea Floyds.
Watch out for the Bears.
And this is the biggest game in 1A, almost a kind of game of the week here. Bamberg Earhart traveling to Hunter Kinder Tyler. That's an HKT team that I saw play against Louisville. They're a good group.
Yeah.
They're a really good group. I don't think they win this game, but I'm interested to see how close this game is because I think this is going to teach me two things Friday. How good is Bamberg and how good is Louisville? Because HKT, they could have won that game in Louisville. They ain't turned the ball over quite as much early in that third quarter. This is an intriguing game for me.
I think the Red Raiders are really good. We were all worried a little bit about the offense with Chanston Crosby going to North Carolina Central. They've not missed a beat. Ryan McMillan has stepped in, done a great job for them. Charles Anthony Williams has done a great job. Jalen McGraw. They're getting Marcus Cann back now, one of the better athletes in the state. He's kind of slowly getting brought along. They're going to be a tough team to stop on that side of the football. I think a little too much firepower. I think a few too many weapons out wide for HKT this week. I like Bamberg Earhart to win this one.
Scotch Branch will be at home against St. John's. And to wrap up the 1A slate, Ware Shoals, undefeated Ware Shoals, hosting Clear Dot Charter.
Another team similar to Fox Creek, similar to some other guys that we just not talked about that have been like Indian Land. They're undefeated. I feel like we don't know a ton about them yet, and they're kind of flying under the radar. So we'll see here how good they are in the next couple of weeks for sure. Any comments, Jerel, from you or the chat on 1A? Bamberg by 21, says Dion. RSM 17-7 over Whitmire he's picking. He said Fox Creek season that started to play OW. I like that.
I think that's next week. That's
really
got game of the week potential there. Might at least pick them. So
they're a good squad too. That's kind of on the radar right now for Coach Carter there.
Most definitely, that defense is playing really, really well for them.
Dalen Halterwanger, Jordan Avenger getting it done. Two big time weapons. Brandon says, "Do you think Union can keep it close to Clinton on Friday?"
I don't think so.
I don't think so. I like the D lineman there at Union. I cannot remember his name right now. A couple weapons offensively, Quay Brandon and whatnot there for Coach Ison's bunch. But I think Clinton is too much firepower. I feel like Clinton has kind of started to click the last couple weeks offensively, especially against Chapman and then against Daniel last week. The offense has kind of figured itself out. I think the Red Devils are too much.
I think so.
Let's run into SCISA. We got some hype there already.
Yes, talk some SCISA ranks now, John.
Yeah, a big one to kick off SCISA. Hammond hosting Northwood Academy.
A really high-powered Northwood offense against a stingy Hammond defense, man. We said it all year long. I feel like talking about Hammond. The defense is legit. Offense has got to slowly come along. Had to replace a lot of pieces on that side of the football. The Skyhawks have played some tight games. Pinewood gave them all they could handle. Porter Gal did, along with Heathwood Hall a couple weeks ago as well. They've kind of played with fire a little bit here. Northwood, Coach Waters does a great job there. We got tons of talent all over the field there for the Chargers. I think Hammond at home too much. This should be a fantastic football game on Friday.
We've got Carleton Prep hosting Buford Academy.
Buford, a tough loss to Dorchester last week. In one of our games of the week, it was last week there. Carleton Prep playing great. Cale Owens leading that group there. Really intrigued to see how this two-way matchup shakes out.
Cross Academy looking for their first win. They host Jefferson Davis. Trinity Collegiate's at home against Northside Christian. Dillon Christian hosting Hilton Head Prep. Got Dorchester Academy at home against Carolina Academy.
Two teams that are kind of similar. They're both very physical. Both want to run it. A tough game to fight. If you're Dorchester and you played Beaufort last week, you had a big win there. Tough physical game. Tough to play Carolina the next week. I mean, that's another. You're going to get beat up again in that one. But I still think Dorchester, John Wetzel, John Quattlebaum, and team there, I think they get this win.
You got Wardlaw Academy hosting King Academy. Our SCISA game of the week, Wilson Hall hosting Florence Christian. Newberry Academy is at home against Lawrence Academy. Cardinal Newman hosting Augusta Christian. Somebody will get their first win in that one. PD Academy at home against Lee Academy. John Paul II against traveling to St. John's Christian. Ben Lippin on the road against Lawrence Manning. Pinewood Prep at home against Hilton Head Christian. You have Orangeburg Prep at home against Calhoun Academy.
Two teams that want to be contenders in 2A this year. They've both kind of disappointed in a few games here and there. I think Calhoun's a little bit better right now than OP is. I think they win this matchup.
Kings Academy at home against Palmetto Christian. Heathwood Hall hosting Porter Gowd. Andrew Jackson Academy at home against Clarendon Hall. And Cathedral Academy hosting Holly Hill.
Jerel, comments from you or the chat on that slate. What do you think about Hanahan Andrews? Asked Thomas. Hanahan, a big win over Timberland last week. Andrews, I think, is a little bit down this year for Coach Durham. Not quite the talent they've had in the past. I do like A.J. Lee there a lot. But I think Hanahan, though, starting to figure it out. I like what Coach Turner's doing there, obviously. I think Coach Wilson, Coach Fields do a great job of setting football for them. I think the Hawks win again over the lower level 2A Andrews.
Yeah, I think so. Hanahan should certainly win that game. I don't know how good they are yet, but they should win that one.
Yeah, and I want to say, as we go through SCISA right there, we don't really have any SCISA comments right now, but if you have bye weeks, you're in those areas right there, your team's not playing, go check out a SCISA game. That football is really, really fun and competitive. I
do want to ask you guys for a minute, because, I mean, this was a game that could have been the game of the week, and that's Hammond and Northwood. I mean, that's a really big match. Northwood, MJ Davis, Aiden Hogan, Drew Wolf, Kevin Johnson, Caven Ford. They got tons of talent, a team that can test Hammond, you feel like a team that has kind of played with fire, like I said there. Is this the week where maybe somebody gets the Skyhawks, or are they still too much and then get the win again?
Hey, I mean, we saw Dutch Fork lose last week. Anybody can get bit.
Yeah, I think it's, this is definitely an opportunity where you see like that offense for Hammond is just not what they need to be. Strength on strength here. This is an opportunity, but like I always say, I don't pick against certain teams unless they give me, until I get a pattern. So I'm not going to pick against Hammond, but would not be surprised if Northwood won this football game.
Well, let's shout out some friends of the program, Jerel, before we move into the next portions, the pick 'em, the polls, and everything else here in the program.
Everyday life means everyday expenses. Spend smarter with a Founders Federal Credit Union credit card, offering you low rates and big rewards where it matters most. Enjoy all the benefits of saving while using your Founders Essential MasterCard. Make every swipe and tap count with smart rates, big rewards on select cards, and no balance transfer or annual fees. Because your money should go where you want it to. That's the power of Founders Federal Credit Union. Apply today at foundersfcu.com. Relax.
The George Agency has been serving the insurance needs of South Carolina for over 40 years. They're a full-line insurance agency concentrated in employee benefits and health insurance with an office in Mullins and Murrells Inlet, but they can help you all across the state. They have clients in Greer, Rock Hill, Columbia, and more, so wherever you are, they can help. Give Bradley, Wayne, Richard, and the crew a call or check them out online at thegeorgeagency.net. That's thegeorgeagency.net. All right, our pick'em brought to you by Hannah Engineering. I do want to say, I think Bradley asked earlier, I believe Gaffney Spartanburg is in the pick'em as far as I just looked. So that one is in there, Bradley. They are in the matchups this week. But our pick'em is always brought to you by Hannah Engineering. And last week's winner will receive a gift card. Clap it up, boys! Clap it up for our winner.
Let's go.
Let's show it, Jerel. Who we get? Perfect score from Ethan's season 11 spot. I was telling John, it's funny. We put a tiebreaker on there, total points in a game, and didn't even need it last week. He said, I'm just going to get them all right and win the gift card. So hats off to Ethan. We'll be in touch for that soon, buddy. A lot of 10s as well with Christy, Dion, Jaron, Richard, and Ryan. Tons of 9s as well. Jerel led us with 10. I had 9, and John was 7. A overall high-scoring week, I would say, back in week 4 in the pick'em there.
Hey, yeah, everybody's in mid-season form here.
Then the overall leader, Andrew C. at 42, Christy and Ryan at 40, and then a ton of 39s and 38s. Jerel with 39, myself with 38, and John with 33. As always, guys, pick 'em brought to you by Hannah Engineering. We post it on Tuesdays on our Facebook and our Twitter. So make sure you get in there and do that. It's a great way to keep up with your team and your region and the whole state, honestly. And like I said, we have some pop-up prizes here and there. We have a winner at the end of the year who wins a prize. We're going to start dropping your lowest week here pretty quickly. And then we will obviously have some pop-up prizes here and there as well. So make sure you join that. Appreciate our friends at Hannah Engineering for helping us do that. Jerel, let's start with the polls. Do you want to start 1A, 5A?
Let's go 1. Let's go 1 to 5 today.
Let's say this again. First off, I always like to preface this. We complained for a long time about the other polls that are out there. So we decided to make our own. And I feel vindicated again doing that this week. So let's look at our polls.
Until we look at this mess of 1A that we've done here, boys.
Let's start with the 1A and 2A ranks, Jerel. Pop it up there. Read it out to the boys here.
Yeah, 1A, we got Big A, Abbeville up top, all 3 first-place votes for us. Got Bamberg at 2, Cross at 3, Carver's Bay sliding into the 4 spot, and a tie for 5th between 3 teams that we think are very, very good, Johnsonville, Latta, and Louisville.
The bottom of 1A obviously was tough for me. Like it was tough for you guys too, looks like there. We had a bunch of teams that had gone to. Because you feel like, Cross doesn't have that big win yet. Carver's Bay doesn't have the big win yet. Johnsonville may have the biggest win out of those bottom 4 teams there, really, with the win over Lakeview. Louisville doesn't have the huge win. Latta doesn't have the huge win yet. So it's like, how do you kind of shake these guys out there? I don't know. But I think there's a lot of solid teams in 1A this year, it feels like.
Yeah, for me, the top 2 have been easy. Has been there. And then obviously with Cross, you slide them in because, just past history. They've been so good and so consistent. And then, again, those 4 teams that we have vouching for those last 2 spots, we're all over the place on that. We think they're very, very good. But, again, I think there's a gap with 1 and 2. And then 3 through 7 in our top 5 is kind of all over the place. But let's go to
we got a weird sports team that's 4-0. That's not even on there.
5-0, aren't they? I think maybe 5-0. I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. Let's go to 2A. We're split here at the top. Got Cheraw getting 2 first place votes, but the number 1 overall spot. Strom Thurmond slides in at 2, getting a first-place vote. Got Central Pageland at 3, Fairfield Central at 4, Clinton at 5, tied with Hampton County there. So six teams making up 5 spots again.
Cheraw and Strom Thurmond have kind of flip-flopped for us last couple of weeks. And it's tough. And I think that's why I have both of them above Central. Is even though they've got a loss or 2 losses in the case of Cheraw, they've played some tough competition. And I feel like I've got a better handle on those 2 groups than I do on Central. Obviously, this week, Central will show us a ton about how good they are. We will really learn this week. But I think you guys are probably kind of on the same wavelength as me as far as that goes, it feels like.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, same thing. I think whoever wins that Cheraw Central game, you can go ahead and pencil them in as the number 1 team in our poll next week. So I think that's a big-time matchup. And it just depends how that game shakes out as well, where the loser of that falls down. It's a really good teams. And that's, again, too, you give grace to Clinton and Hampton County for their non-region slate. These guys are playing some really, really tough teams.
Fairfield Central, too.
You got to give them some credit for that.
Yeah, so these 2A teams are playing some big boys for sure. You're not going to see a clean slate and a lot of undefeated teams right now at the top, but some really good football teams there in 2A. Any comments from the chat on 2A right quick, Jerel, before we move on to the next?
Let's take a look who we get yelled at by. Let's see.
Strom Thurmond beat 4A Emerald 34-13. They did, and that was a pretty solid Emerald team, I feel like. So that's and that was a good bounce back after that North Augusta loss 2 weeks ago there for Strom Thurmond. Andrew says, hey, guys, from Sport tuning in. Appreciate you, Andrew. Great talking to you Friday at the Hillcrest Mullen game, man. Appreciate all you do. Thanks for the kind words. Appreciate you hopping in here tonight during the program.
Let's go ahead. The people want to see 3A, so let's go take that one out. And in 3A, no surprise, we've had them up top. We'll continue to have them up top until we don't have a reason to. That's Oceanside getting all first-place votes. Newberry at 2, BHP at 3, and a tie for 4th between Woodruff, Loris, and Mountain View Prep.
And I believe this is the same poll as last week. Honestly, I don't think we had any changes. No big losses out of that group at all this week. So we'll see. Got some tricky games this week. You got Woodruff playing a tough Wren team. See how that shakes out. But interesting to see. I like 3. I think we're in a good spot, but there's a lot of good talent there as well. But I think we all agree that the Oceanside feels like the clear-cut number 1 team. I don't care if they got losses. I don't care.
Yeah, no, the same thing for me is like it doesn't matter. Their non-region schedule's as tough as they come. Again, they played Irma within a touchdown, just beat Dutch Fork. I'm sorry about the records, and we saw the other poll come out today. They're the number 1 team in 3A. It is what it is. You can argue with a wall.
Not number 4.
Exactly. You can argue with a wall. 4A, we got South Point getting all 3 first-place votes. South Florence sliding in at 2. North Augusta at 3. Bishop England at 4. Love that color scheme. They got some fantastic jerseys. I don't know if you guys seen those, man. They look awesome. And Camden, new in the 5 spot this week with Daniel receiving some votes.
And this is one, too, where, I thought about Seneca hard there in that 5 spot. I kind of even thought about Wilson for a quick second there, too. I was like, you know what? The Tigers are playing the football. So I think that 4 and 5 spot, especially the 5 spot for me, was really up for grabs. It felt like this week.
Yeah, for sure. I think so as well. I mean, that's been a constant, that top 3 and 4A. I haven't moved anybody. It's been fluid there at the bottom side, but I think those are the clear cuts there. And let's see, I got some more comments here. Zach had a really funny one I want to say. Hold on, let me see. Sorry, comments not popping up. Anyways, we'll just pop some up anyways.
Come to Westside, get some hot dogs, enjoy military parade. That's going to be a packed house. It certainly is going to be a great atmosphere there. And Westside, pretty good concessions, I will say. Over the years, they've had some pretty solid hot dogs there, the Rams. And it's also quick in and out, too. I love that. They got a ton of lines going, you in and out. Very, very great logistics there by the Rams.
No, it was actually Brandon. This is the comment of the night so far.
Clinton Hill, Newberry season low, 41 points. So, they're a legit squad, man. They're big, they're physical, they're fast. That Coach Jeter team is really, really good.
Hey, Oceanside wins. Even got Courtney saying, "Hey, man, we'll just be 2. Get us to 2."
BHB is playing great. I could certainly see the argument for having them 2. Certainly understand. They have blown everybody out so far. Playing good football there, the Bears are. Andrew says, great rankings. Oceanside needs to be number 1. Agree with that. Thank you, Andrew. Appreciate you. Like I said, we've had Oceanside number 1 the whole time. I mean, even if you go back, if you watch their week 0 loss to Irmo by 7 points to a team that you'll see in a minute, we have very high in 5A. Could have won that game. I mean, Oceanside is legit. Like I said, I don't care what their record is right now. They're really, really good.
We'll go to 5A.
Keep that at the top 5. Well, Chris, I think you're okay this week in 5A.
We'll go D2 5A. We got Irmo getting 2 first-place votes, splitting with Northwestern getting a vote in the 2 spot. Berkeley at 3, TL Hanna new to the poll at 4, and the Greenville Red Raiders at 5 here. Also receiving votes here was Greenwood in 5A Division 2.
I think we really just saw Greenwood and Hanna kind of flip spots. Greenwood may have been 3 last week. I can't remember exactly where they were, but that's the main change there in the top 5. So we'll see. You know what happens. We got a big matchup this week for Greenville against rival JL. Man, if Greenwood beats Hillcrest, handily, they may move back in. We'll see. But I felt like there was only 5 or 6 teams I really thought I'd even ranking in Division 2 right now.
Yeah, for sure. Those are the teams. And again, I don't know. I like Irmo. I like Irmo at 1. I think they're clear cut there, but I love the fact that we have a little disagreement for that top spot. And then I think Berkeley did slide up to 3. TL Hanna new to the poll. That was a Big Ten win for TL Hanna. Come back. Again, I don't think they've scored in the first quarter, but just played their style of ball, played at home, and got it done. Yes. Any comments from you, John, before we look at Division 1?
Yeah, I am. I'm part of the problem here on the Division 1 split that we have. But
no, we'll talk about it. Let's go ahead and let's talk about Dutch Fork still in the number 1 spot, coming off that loss to Oceanside. Somerville at 2 with the first place vote. James Island at 3, Stratford at 4, and Ridgeview in the 5 with Dorman picking up some votes. Guys, this was the biggest debate for me all weekend when deciding this one. What do you do with Dutch Fork after they lose to Oceanside? I kept them at 1. I'll say that. But I didn't feel good about it. And,
I'm looking at this top 5, and, we've got the Byrnes-Dorman game coming up. I like Byrnes to beat Dorman. I don't have him in my top 5, though.
Yeah. Same. Surprising there for sure. And that was what it was tricky to me, too, because, you look at Dutch Fork, obviously they played a tough schedule. I mean, they've got wins over a solid Spartanburg team, we feel like. Obviously, a good Ridgeview team who got in our top 5. They beat Gray Collegiate, who's solid as well at the 4A level. But they had that weird loss last week, and it just I was like, I don't know. I don't know how much to penalize them for that. I don't really know. It was kind of tough for me to figure out what to do with that group as well. But Somerville had a big win again over Chapin. They've continued to impress. They've got their 1 loss to South Florence. Obviously can't forget about that a couple weeks back as well. So interesting to see. I know that we're a lot higher on Stratford than most folks. A team that took down Daniel, took Somerville to the brink. They will match up with Berkeley next week. Should be a lot of fun there when those two get together. But any other thoughts on 5A Division 1, guys? Because that was it's tough for us. I feel like when they split out this 5A into 2 different classes, it's tough to get enough teams to make a solid top 5 a lot of weeks, it feels like.
Yeah. I tell you what, though, I like to point out the low country love we've got. We've got a lot of low country presence in both of these 5A polls, and deservingly so, I think.
Yeah, that's what Thomas says, man. It's so cool to see these Charleston, schools there representing the meat of the 5A poll for us in Division 1. But they earned it. I mean, they've played really good football. James Island, they've been a staple. I mean, Coach McCoy, we cannot talk about him enough and what he's built down there, protecting the island. So it's been so much fun. And again, Stratford, a team that we're higher on than most, played that Somerville team. I think it was to 5 points. It was
35-30, I want to say. Yeah.
So I think they're very good. And again, that's what's hard about us doing only 5. You don't get Byrnes in there, and it just seems like they're so deserving. So.
Yeah, and our polls powered by First Team Sports. Going to check them out. Appreciate those guys helping us out with these polls each and every week. Surprising Region 2, 5A. Yeah, we've got Dorman there receiving votes. Byrnes was right on the cusp for me as well. It felt like there, Bradley, depending on how the games go this week, you get Dorman, Byrnes, Gaffney, Spartanburg. A decent chance the winner of both those games will probably go into the polls next week at some point. We'll see. So we'll see how it shakes out for sure. Ryan said, wish 5A was one class. Hard to come back around. Love 2016 to 2013 or 2020 with 1 5A. Yeah, certainly was a lot more fun. You look back at last year. I mean, I felt like we had so many good 5A teams in both classes. I would love to see those guys match up in the playoffs, but we'll see how it shakes out, Ryan. Hate having them split out like we do right now for sure.
Let's see. This was a good comment here.
Tor says, glad Newberry and Oceanside can figure that out for themselves. Yeah, Newberry Oceanside is going to be a fun matchup down there in Lower State, too, along with Loris and Dylan and some of the other guys down there. But, yeah, BHP looks to be the class of Upper State 3A right now for sure, Tori.
Yeah, 3A is going to be a fun playoffs in 3A. That's one of my favorite classes, so can't wait. Yeah, that's all we got here, guys, for the polls.
Perfect. Want to shout out our teams of the week. We had Oceanside Collegiate, their big win over Dutch Fork, earned them that spot. Lucy Beckham knocked off previously unbeaten Bluffton, and then Broome, a big win over a red-hot Powdersville team last week. Teams of the week brought to you by Preferred Home Services. Our players of the week, Grayson Rimpf at Camden, big game for him. DJ Lee at Southside Christian, and then Sam Holiday at Fountain Inn, all insured by the Georgia Agency. Shout out to all of our teams of the week and players of the week. John, anything else you want to shout out real quick before we kind of go into the final wrap-up here of the program?
No, just I love all these teams that have burst onto the scene, and some teams that I thought were pretty good last week got blown out. It just never ceases to amaze me what we see on a week-to-week basis. That's what makes it so much fun. For sure. Well, guys, appreciate you tuning in as always to our preview show. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, on Twitter /X, Instagram, YouTube, and more at Movin Chains. That's MOVINCHAINS. MovinChains.com is our website, our podcast on Apple, Spotify, Google, and all podcast platforms. Our weekly preview show at 7:15 here on Facebook and YouTube. Join us to talk some ball. Love to have you in here with us. We have great stuff throughout the week, coach interviews, player interviews, team of the week, game of the week, all kinds of great stuff. Our pick 'em as well. Join that, be a part of that. Like you see on the screen there, get our MTC merch right now. We've got some great hoodies, a gray hoodie, a white hoodie as well. You can email us info@movinchains.com. You can message us on social media, send us a DM there as well. Order yours today. Some great stickers. Get the stickers. I mean, come on, guys. This looks great on your car, on your cup, your laptop, whatever. Get you a sticker today. Get you a toboggan for that cold weather, a black one, a gray one. Get you one of those. Get you a hat as well. Nice Richardson hats. We got a gray front with kind of a black back along with kind of a creamish back. Got a black one as well as some more too. You can see there's pictures on our social media page. We have some more options as well for you. And then our t-shirts, a black t-shirt, gray t-shirt, navy blue, or pink for the ladies. Order yours today. Support the boys. Help us get bigger and better. Got to meet a lot of great friends over at Malden on Friday night from Malden Hillcrest. Got to see Coach Madge there, Coach Nelson, Coach Swigert, obviously, Coach Cook, Andrew Pepper we mentioned earlier. A lot of great folks over there we got to talk to during that matchup. Appreciate all the kind words they had for us. But hopefully you guys will see us at the game on Friday. And if you do, come up and say hello. We'll love to say talk some ball with you and whatnot for sure. But we'll be a lot of fun. Jerel, final thoughts from you. John, final thoughts from you here as we wrap up our Week 5 preview show.
Oh, weather's starting to cool off. I mean, game's starting to matter. Getting into the heart of region play, get these last few byes out of the way, and go support your local team. If your team's not playing, go do that. Go catch a SCISA game. Go catch a high school league game. But if you're watching us on Tuesday, I want you to be in the stand somewhere on Friday evening. So and also run up the YouTube. That's my last thing.
Yes, follow us on YouTube. I know. Speaking of that, we've had a couple comments the last couple weeks about something being Facebook Live. It hadn't done right. I don't know. So go follow us on YouTube as well, just in case you have an issue where you can't log in. You can check us out over on YouTube. Always, we're live on Tuesdays there as well. John says I got the NIL money. I don't know, John. They got some players, that's for sure. Aiden Manavian playing great. Terrence Johnson playing great. Roe Coleman out wide. I mean, they've got some great studs there. Randy said, great show. Missed the first portion. We'll go back and watch. Good game coming to Christchurch, Hampton County. Thank you, Randy. Appreciate that. Yeah, that's always a key there, guys. Once the show is over, you can go back and check it out. Like, it lives on Facebook and YouTube forever. So go check it out. Also, their podcast will have it as well. But, yeah, excited for that one. Cavs and Hurricanes should be a good one. That was a game I was actually looking at going to last year. Got canceled because of Hurricane Helene. But should be a fun 2A, 3A matchup over at Carson Stadium on Friday. John, final thoughts from you as we wrap up Week 5 here.
We've got a great slate of games this week. No excuse to not go out and see one of them.
No doubt about it. But going to be a lot of fun. Moving the Change is always brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union. For Jerel Hendricks and John Epps, I'm Kevin Thomas. This has been our Week 5 preview show here on Moving the Chains, talking all things South Carolina high school football. We will catch you guys next week.
Get ready for the ultimate South Carolina high school football experience with Movin' the Chains. From previews to recaps, we've got you covered. Dive into our expert preview shows, predicting winners and sharing insights. Then join us post-game for the thrilling recaps, exclusive interviews, and highlights you won't find anywhere else. Plus, connect with fellow fans on our Friday night spaces on Twitter/X. No one covers South Carolina high school football like us. Join us at Movin' Chains on all social media platforms and visit movinchains.com today.